Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this June the 2nd Board of Commissioners meeting. The purpose of tonight's meeting is for a public hearing on our budget. And before we begin tonight, I'm going to call on Commissioner Marshall Faircloth for the invocation and pledge.
Please stand for the invocation and remain standing for the pledge. Gracious Heavenly Father, we thank you once again for the ability to come into your presence and to do the due diligence in the work of our county that our citizens have entrusted us with. We ask that we would keep open minds and that we would listen attentively and we take those things into account that would help us to move our county forward. We ask these things in your precious name. Amen. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Before we begin tonight, I'm going to ask our manager to read the rules of procedure for our public hearings, if you would do that.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. This evening, we will have 3 minutes allotted for each speaker. No time may be yielded to another speaker. Speakers will be acknowledged by the board in the order in which their names appear on the sign-up sheet. When the speakers address the board, please begin your remarks by stating your name and your address.
Thank you so much. And with that, Madam Clerk, if you would call the first speaker.
All right, we have 6 speakers signed up. Our first speaker is Sarah Kloot.
Good evening. My name is Sarah Kloot, and I live at 7669 Harriet Drive in Fayetteville. Good evening, Chairman Edge and Commissioners. I stand here before you tonight representing the 7-person Board of Trustees for our library system. We are a diverse group of people, all of whom are strong library advocates. I'd like to, anytime I get an opportunity, I like to tell you something you may not know about the library. And one of the things that we recently became aware of is that even though we are the 5th most populous county in the state of North Carolina, our library system is #1 in the circulation of downloadable materials, e-books and so forth, as well as the number of computers that we make available for the public. We're 3rd in the circulation of, in the per capita collection development and for program attendance and for the usage of meeting rooms. And we know that you're aware of the excellence of our library system. You have contributed to that excellence with the support that you have provided over the years. I am happy to brag about things that are great about the library system, but most of what I want to communicate to you tonight and to the citizens of Cumberland County is the gratitude that we all feel for the support that you've provided the library system over the years. And I'm speaking, of course, of funding, and you've been consistent with that even through some very lean times. But we also acknowledge and appreciate the fact that you have assigned one of your own to be a liaison to the board. And some of you have filled that role, and very admirably, I might say. Right now, Commissioner Adams is our liaison. I don't think he's missed a meeting yet this year, and we are grateful for the attention that you give to the work that the library does. We want to be responsive to your constituents and the support that you provide us. And if I may insert here that we're very grateful for the consideration you're giving to raises for the public, for the library employees. They are a superb staff. Another thing I'd like to address tonight is we understand that there's a perception among some of your constituents that the headquarters library is not a safe and inviting place. And I want you to know, and the citizens of Cumberland County to know, that we've taken steps to address that perception. First, we now have 2 security guards on duty during all business hours. There used to be just 1. The signage has been improved on the library grounds, outside and inside, making clear that you may not loiter or trespass. And inside, the signage makes it clear that what you do inside is being observed. We have 17 cameras at the headquarters library, 7 of which are outside with a fixed view, 10 of which are on the inside, providing multiple views. And the security footage is retained for 30 days. And fourth, mandatory training and refresher training is now available for all library staff, and that takes place through staff development days, webinars, and workshops. I regret that the perception is that the library is not safe, but I hope that that perception will dissipate over time. And if I may take one more second, this wonderful book will answer any of your constituents' questions about why libraries matter in the age of Google, and you can get it at your local library.
Thank you, Ms. Vander Kloot. We appreciate those comments. Next speaker.
Our next speaker is Renee Rea.
Hello, my name is Alistair Ray. I live at 3383 Hawthorne Street here in Hope Mills, North Carolina. I've been going to the library for as long as I can remember. My parents always made it a priority for me to go, and I'm glad I did because it enhanced my reading ability and my speaking ability. And for example, for the library, my favorite series of books is Diary of a Wimpy Kid, and I found that out at the library when I started reading that when I was 8 years old, and that's one of my favorite series of books. The library provides just so much for you to do, like books, movies, CDs, and that is amazing. I love that. Earlier this year in February, I was in a science fair, and that was awesome. I came in 5th place. That was only homeschoolers. I hope they do that again very soon. I really enjoyed that. Last year, I was an NCLA Student Library Ambassador. We went to Washington, D.C. to support the library. I applied again this year. I did not make it, but I'm definitely going to do it again, and I hope you fund the library. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Angela Ray.
Hello, everybody. My name is Angela Renee Rea. I live at 3383 Hawthorne Street in Hope Mills, North Carolina. I'm currently the Vice President-elect of the Friends of the Library. And Cumberland County is such a great library system, and we love it. And my husband and I, we always made a priority, like Alistair stated, to take him to the library because it had made him a well-rounded reader and speaker. And when we go to the library here, they know us by name because we go so much. It's like a second home. And just the funding just makes the programs better, and it just benefits the community. And I hope that the funding will continue for the library because it's well worth it. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Ray.
Our next speaker is LaHonda Jo Morgan.
Good evening,
Good evening.
and I appreciate this opportunity to speak about our library. And, I should give you my address, 6651 Ramsey Street. Oh, gotta get down, thank you. Anyway, our library has a lot of advocates, but I want to say that I have had the privilege of doing research for decades into various things all around the world. It is the best library I have found anywhere. And I just urge you to keep it the best because you have staff that are so dedicated, so interested in what they're doing, and who are properly trained again and then again when something new comes out. Now, I guess all of us kind of remember in a way what we grew up with as libraries. Well, that's not where it is anymore. We are now looking at a whole new world, and I think we have to be ready for it. In the old days, you probably all saw that musical, The Music Man, and Mary and the Librarian, and that sort of thing. That doesn't happen anymore. Everything is done digitally. It's done in various other kind of technology that I don't even begin to understand. But the people in the library do. And their staff goes out all around the county helping people who cannot come in. Few of us know that they actually go into the assisted living quarters, homes around town, and help people there in various ways. It is absolutely terrific. There is one thing, though, that I would urge you to consider. Keep that money available for books. Don't forget that. But there is a new process, a technology, where teleconferencing can happen in the libraries within the state. People can go and teleconference at the local library, make arrangements, and connect up anywhere in the world. and that is a very special opportunity. It's helping citizens at every level. For instance, the usual free legal clinics are now available by teleconferencing in some of our western states. Think about it. You could stay home, go down on a Saturday morning for the legal clinic, talk to a lawyer somewhere and say, well, what should I do about this? Well, I think you can take care of that yourself. That'll be a pro se hearing, and here's what you do. And it can happen here. Colorado has this statewide. 2 provinces in Canada and several other states are considering it. So I hope that you will look into making funds available for this really giant step that will collect all of the legal needs of the small needs of our citizens. Thank you very much, and you should be very proud of that library.
Thank you, Ms. Morgan. We appreciate it.
Our next speaker is Dave Wilson.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is David Wilson, and I live at 6326 Morgan Road. I've lived there a long time. The Cumberland County Public Library is a jewel in the city of Fayetteville and the Cumberland County communities. We have too few of these. We need more. Our library system in 2012 received a well-deserved honor, a very prestigious honor, which was recognition from and by the Institute of Museum and Library Service. This recognition was awarded to a very short list of libraries nationwide. Our library performs a wide variety of services to our community, which extend far beyond lending books. It provides a very important resource to those in our community who are, for whatever reasons, not able to access information for school assignments, research, or just plain curiosity. Most importantly, the library system is the community's cheerleader for all the good things that should or are or will occur here. A key issue within our elected leadership in our communities is our community's lack of substantial success in recruiting significant businesses offering well-paying jobs. One criterion a company considering is quality of life within our proposed community. Our library system entitles us to some bragging rights in that regard. Our crime rate does not, nor does our lack of an art museum, a performing arts center, a minor league baseball team, or an appropriate venue for such a sport if one should come our way. But our library system, with its extensive number of branches that extend its services throughout our community, is a serious plus, and we as a community must support it in every way we can. And that support most definitely includes adequate funding so that the branches can be open during times that work for patrons. The staff can be adequately compensated for their work and their dedication. And the library's collection of volumes and other material can be constantly enhanced and refreshed. I'm speaking for all the citizens. Please make your budgeting decisions considering what is best for the growth and cultural betterment of our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wilson. Mr. Fairclough.
Mr. Chairman, Dave, did you bring any copies of your book? I want an autographed copy of your book.
Well, see me after the meeting. I sure did.
Okay.
Next speaker.
Our last speaker is Jeffrey Hunt.
Good evening. My name is Jeffrey Hunt. I reside at 405A Tolbert Court, and that's Spring Lake, North Carolina. I'm the president and CEO of the Spring Lake Chamber of Commerce. I'm here tonight to urge this board to reconsider the manager's decision to not fund Spring Lake Chamber of Commerce for Economic Development. At this juncture, Spring Lakes need more county assistance than little. And with respect to economic growth, the county dollars are a catalyst for us to continue to grow our community. And if this honorable body is unfamiliar with the growth that is occurring north of Cumberland County's borderline in western Harnett County, I'll acquaint you with it today. A few short years ago, when I started with the chamber, there were less than 25,000 rooftops in western Harnett County. Today, there are over 60,000 rooftops, and it's been projected, and estimates say that it'll go as high as 100,000 rooftops by 2020. And now, commercial and retail is beginning to follow that residential growth in Harnett County. Land is already being cleared for a new super Walmart just 5 miles radius from our super Walmart in Spring Lake. So we're talking about tax dollars going on the other side of the border that can continue to be housed here in Cumberland County. So it's important for us to understand that that is a major threat that we're facing as a region, as a chamber, and as a town. But by way of accomplishments, with the help and assistance and collaboration of this august body, we've been able to sell the remaining acreage in our industrial park to RLM Communications. Phase 3 was just completed. Phase 4 construction will begin within 6 months. The town has committed over $75,000 to fund a streetscaping design in order to put us in the hopper for additional North Carolina transportation dollars to remake our main street. The town has just negotiated its own incentive package to locate a Courtyard Marriott within the city limits of Spring Lake. There's also a new development called the Town Riverwalk that used to be a 70-acre abandoned trailer park. So we have a lot of irons in the fire, but we need your support not only through economic dollars, but we need your support in terms of your technical assistance of your staffs through the planning department. So I'm asking and urging that this board reconsiders the manager's decision and to fund the Spring Lake economic development efforts at the tune of $50,000. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Hunt. Any other speakers, Madam Clerk?
There are no other speakers.
There are no other speakers. Any comments from anybody on the board?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we adjourn.
Okay, this is the opportunity for us to hear. We have heard many positive things about our library, and a request for the Spring Lake Chamber of Commerce, and so at this time we will take all of that into consideration as we move forward into another work session on Thursday night.
Mr. Chairman, I second that motion.
There's been a motion and a second to adjourn. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Unanimous?
We are adjourned.